Many.
The
What did you do?
the genesis of the Elite Podcast. Lemma, what are you doing? Don't giggle at me, Kaiser.
my
Don't
God.
giggle at me. I think we lost our entire group. So to introduce everybody, we've got Lemma.
Hello.
We've got Creepy. And of course, Kaiser. And I wanted to thank everybody for being here as our first guests on the Elite Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about, on episode 1, being a content creator, the troubles with being a content creator, the issues with starting up and deciding to become one, whether it's a YouTuber or a social media entrepreneur via TikTok or a streamer. So, looking at all of that, I wanted to introduce our guests and have them discuss with me, your host with the most, not Beetlejuice, that would be Ghost, what it was like becoming one and deciding to be one. Lemma, when did you decide to get into the throes of Twitch, into streaming?
So I first found out about Twitch in about 2017. It's a long time ago now. I didn't know about it. One of my friends who I worked with at the time, we were just talking about video games and our love for them, and he was like, "Have you ever heard of Twitch?" I was like, "I actually haven't. Like, what is Twitch?" And he was like, "It's a streaming platform where mostly people play video games." And he was like, "I think you'd be really good at it. Like, you're a girl and people consider that a niche." And so I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. I didn't have a PC at the time, so I started on my PlayStation. So it's very basic, just literally my little PlayStation webcam. And yeah, and I started trying it out, and yeah, that's how I first found Twitch and started streaming.
That's how you started streaming. So when you first started out getting the equipment or
Yeah.
getting the gumption to actually do it, did you notice any kind of hindrances, anything kind of holding you back at first, or was it just naturally you were able to get into it?
I mean, I was really nervous when I first started. Like, I guess I've got used to it now, but I was quite quiet. Obviously, when you first start as a content creator, unless you're like a big celebrity or something like that, you're not really going to get many viewers. And the biggest problem I found was that, yeah, no one was coming to watch me. And let's be honest, most people will have that problem. And I realized the reason for that is because I wasn't joining communities, I wasn't talking to people, and I think that was the first step that actually helped me grow.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, communities are a big help. I think that's one of the reasons I started too, was because of the availability of having that networking community and kinship. And I didn't even start with the lead, obviously. I mean, this is brand new with Kaiser, myself, Creepy, Foops, etc. So there are many other communities that I started with that helped me kind of get a feeling for it and get comfortable. So I can understand that for sure. Did you have any nerves about finally hitting live for the first time?
Oh my god, yeah. I'm nervous now, mate. Like, I get nervous every time I go live. Like, even if I try and prepare, like, okay, well, how am I going to start out my stream? Like, what am I going to say? I can even plan something out and I'll still fumble it. Like, I fumble my words all the time. If you've been in one of my streams, sometimes my brain just goes, nope, I don't know how to talk. I've just given up.
I can
So
confirm.
yeah, thank you, Creepy. I appreciate that, bro. So yeah, like even when I go live now, I'm so nervous. Like even so, my first stream was me being on the PlayStation. The camera was very small, so you couldn't even really see me, and I was still really nervous. I actually did it cross-legged on this bed. I wasn't even at a proper desk or anything. I was just sat like, yeah, it's all chill, guys. Yeah, I'm still nervous now, mate. You can hear my voice. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But
Still.
being nervous is actually a good thing, right? It
Yeah,
makes
it's
you
adrenaline.
on edge. It makes you like sharp, and it gets the adrenaline going, which is also a good thing when trying to make good and unique content.
Yeah,
That's a very
100%.
unique, yeah. That's a very unique prospect. I completely agree with you, Kaiser. You could use the negatives to your advantage, and that's a lot of people don't really realize that when you get stressed out or you work up that adrenaline, you could flip it and actually turn it into something that'll help you propagate your stream. But that's a good point, Flemma. So another thing is when you're actually starting off a lot of people think that the first thing you want to do is pop over to Amazon and grab the best gear and the
Yeah.
best equipment
Yeah.
and, you know, whatever you can use to make yourself the next Ninja or Shroud or Dr. Disrespect. And you don't realize that the number one proponent is your personality because you're selling your own brand. So I wanted to kind of switch it over to Kaiser and ask you, like, when you started, what was your thought process in terms of equipment? Did you feel that need to actually get the best of the best? Did you start with what you had? What was that like?
A good story. Do you want me to combine it with the way that I started streaming at all, or is that too much?
Yeah, do the whole thing. I want to hear
Okay.
everything.
So I started out on YouTube in Dutch because most people know that I am Dutch. So I started on YouTube making Dutch content, which went pretty well. I didn't do it live. I just played a lot of games and then I clipped out the best that I did and just make one giant video out of it. Um, and to be honest, I started with a desk like this one in terms of like the size. It was a little bit more this way. I had one screen in which I played the game on as well. My PlayStation was connected, and I didn't have a proper light. I did have a webcam, and I wish I kept the content that I created back then, but it was completely gray, and I was under light, and sometimes I had too much light because of the window over there that shined in my face. So sometimes I get all gray, and then sometimes was like spotlight on me, like there is light now, and the camera was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" That's how I started. And a buddy of mine, in which I played a lot of games with, called Mr. Wet Pickles. I don't talk to him anymore, but back in the day, he was just a gaming buddy. Played a lot of COD, and he said, "Have you ever heard about Twitch?" And I was like, "Twitch? No, what the fuck is Twitch?" And that's basically my first time I signed in. And it turned out my YouTube content, looking back, was awful. I don't have another word for it because it was way too long. It was not highlights. It was not me talking through it. It was just me basically sitting with my headset on in the screen and just playing the game. Same as Flemma. I started with a PlayStation Share. Um, and after that, I slowly took on a couple of things. The first thing I did was grab a good mic. That was actually the first one. I remember it was the first one with what's the name? The green the turtle thingy.
Turtle Beach?
Yeah, thank you. The first microphone from Turtle Beach, and it is completely awful. That is the most trash mic I've ever had. But anyway, that's how I started, and then slowly but steady um, build up. I think I've always been this character. I've always been the person that I am. Whether you give me a mic in front of an audience or turn on the lights and I go live, I grew quicker. So within 3 or 4 months, I was affiliate, and I started averaging about around 10 to 15 people, and I just built it from there. Started joining communities, same as Flemmer. People were talking about a program called Discord. Never heard of it until that point, and that's how I started as well. And then slowly joining communities, building it. Um, yeah, but yeah, mic was after my webcam. My mic was my first purchase, and then slowly but steady you build it up. But yeah, I completely agree with the subject. Like, don't spend one, two, three, four, five, even 10K on the setup. Um, well, maybe if it's gaming related and you like the game, that's fine, of course. But if it in terms of content creation, I would say first take a spin because people don't really come in to hear a crispy voice or something that is like super smooth. People don't expect that. People expect the broadcaster to be absolutely amazing and work on that part. And after that, you can slowly upgrade and increase your stream and the availability of your content, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, coming from the starting process of losing your nerve and having the gumption, kind of like what we talked about with Flemma, and then moving over to using that and segueing over to using that your personality and growing that before you divulge into spending so much money into content creation, because it's not something that you can just jump into and easily succeed. You have to put the work in, but granted, if you put that work in, you will reach a higher platform. And something that is very important is the personability of the content creator to be able to showcase themselves as their brand. So once you put those two things in order, you have the nerve to succeed and start, and then you have the personality to continue. You could then divulge into a microphone, into bettering your audio quality, and then of course a camera. But those things aren't the most important things, and a lot of streamers worry about that, myself included. When I started with a microphone I had from college, way back from about 2007, 2008. It was a
You're that
cheap
old?
condense. Yeah, I look at me. I look. Who am I right now? William Dafoe. Willem Dafoe.
45, I guess. 45.
No,
That is not William Dafoe.
no, it's not. This guy's too pretty. But yeah, sorry, Willem. But yeah, so I started with a condenser microphone when I started YouTube, and I just kind of worked my way up once I felt more comfortable. Creepy, when you started, what were some of the issues that kind of beheld you and got you to hold back at all, or were there any?
Issues? Like what kind of issues?
So, like, did you ever feel a lot of nerves when first starting to become a content creator? Did you have any factors that made you decide to stream instead of to take on YouTube full time? Did you have any kind of personal dilemmas that made your content less than what it is now?
Oh, my content like is much better now than when I started. It was crap at the start, but one thing I've always noticed I've had is humor. Um, what got me into streaming actually was not to sound arrogant, but I used to play with some people who were streamers or are streamers, and their chat used to always say, "Oh, that creepy nanners guy, he's really really funny, blah blah blah," and or he should stream himself as well. And that's what made me think about starting. Um, bit like everybody else, when I first started out, I had one screen. I think I had a pair of HyperX headphones with the microphone. That's what I started out with. I got like really crappy camera, and just pressed the live button and played. At the start, I used to play a lot of Euro Simulator too.
Yeah, so
Can
I
I
actually,
ask
yeah,
a
go
question?
ahead.
Sorry, Maddie. Can I?
No, go ahead.
I was wondering, do you still feel nervous as well, like Flemma does, or is that already a little bit gone, or do you have it like on occasions, or?
Yeah, so another thing that a lot of people kind of don't divulge into is more or less the mental state of the streamer. So a lot of streamers or content creators on a whole might have situations where they have anxiety or kind of hindrances of the mind that hold them back. I'm one of them. I definitely do exhibit anxiety. I have it. And something that helps me when I go live is just realizing that I'm changing myself. I'm becoming a hyperactive um, version of my person. So, kind of when I go live now, I still feel nervous when I hit the button. But as soon as it starts, and as soon as I dip into that other skin suit, so to speak, everything starts to lower and my excitement increases. So, that's a very good question. No matter how big you get, I'm sure even like, big names still get nervous. And it depends on the circumstances. So when you're starting out, you might get nervous because you don't have enough viewers. Down the line, you might get nervous because how many trolls am I going to get today? So there's many different avenues and aspects to why you might get nervous or shaken up a little bit. But yeah, no,
You combine nervousness with mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say, for
But it
example,
depends
if you
on the type of nerve, right?
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Like when I was on my road to partner, it went up very quickly. I was streaming to an average of 250 people at some point, and instead of getting nervous about that, I felt more hyped when I pressed the like button. I I think for me as a person, the nervous part is connected with the anxiety. I really I agree with that, but it's also like in the moment. Sometimes I feel it, and that sometimes is like 2% of the times that I press the like button, and 98% of the times I don't feel it. But the weird thing is, if I feel it, my streams are always better because you, like I said before, you feel that You feel that like, oh my god, what's gonna happen today kind of thing.
Mm.
While you combine it with the 98% when you just press live and it is another stream, which is still can still be good content, don't get me wrong, but like that hype, that moment, that momentum that you grab when you are in feeling it, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go live, and then you press the button and you go live. Like, I wonder, and that's maybe going towards my question, is it always connected to anxiety, or is it also the hype of what can I achieve today or something else? Maybe I should address it to Flemma for me over there, but I see in the webcam you're over there. Yeah. I think the question is more for you, Flemma, than for anybody else, because you still feel that nervousness when you go live, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it just I'm always nervous at the beginning, but it just go away because it's just it takes me a while to get into it. And this also sounds maybe a little bit odd, but usually when I start my stream, I've got maybe none, maybe one viewer. And sometimes when I don't have any viewers, I'm more nervous than if I do have viewers, which I know sounds a bit odd because you think, oh, the more people watching me, the more nervous I'm going to get. But it seems to be the opposite. I feel like sometimes my best content comes when I know there's people watching. So I know it seems a bit odd because I guess to some people it might be the opposite. It might be that, oh, if you've got like a big raid coming in, you'd be like, oh my god, there's like so many people watching me now. I mean, I have had that once, and that was a couple of months ago. I got raided by Neil Newborn, which is a voice actor for Resident Evil games. And it was raided for like 100 people. And I was like, at first I thought it was fake. I was like, well, this is obviously a bot. It was real. And obviously then, so I did get really nervous then, and I kind of flabbergasted my words. But that's because that for me, that's like, I've never had that amount of people. Um, but you know, so I feel like by the time I get into my streams, I feel a little bit better. I kind of got into the flow of it. I guess as well at the beginning, I kind of just talk a little bit, and I guess my best content is when I'm commenting actually on the games I'm playing.
Yeah, very good. I mean, yeah, I think that was a good question addressed, Kaiser. I think it's a mix definitely between having a disbelief of, wow, I'm actually going to do something new this time, something great might happen. It's excitement. And that's definitely part of nerves too. And then there's that, like I said before, that anxiety aspect where you're just thinking about the worst, which is a hindrance. It's something that usually never happens. You're never really in that position. It's just more or less coming over that. Yeah, creepy.
I think for me to go the other side of it for pushing the live button is I wouldn't exactly have the anxiety of being on camera or getting the jitters of going, oh god, I'm going to be seen or blah blah blah. Um, it's more down to, do I press that live button and is my content going to be good? Like,
Mm.
what game am I going to play? And having a bit of a mental block kind of as a sort of an entertainer.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
I think that's the split. That's what's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I think the right side, but Maddie, please correct me if I'm wrong in your opinion. For me, on the right side, you have the chat, the trolls, and the activities surrounding your stream where you don't really have a grip on. That's where your mod team kicks in. That anxiety for me is completely gone because I know one of my mods will always be there and will always have my back no matter what happens. If there's a troll, if there's, hey, you want to be famous? Click here, kind of thing. I know my mod is there and there's a banhammer and they know what to do and I trust them completely. So that side of me for being nervous is gone. I feel like for everybody starting up or for everybody growing or slowly doing his thing, moderators, in my opinion, are the most underestimated part of good content creation. If you feel safe, if you know that chat is being taken care of no matter what happens, you will always be a better content creator because you will focus on yourself. You will focus on your content, your interaction, and your engagement. And that's for me side A. So if side A is correct, side B will be much easier. It's so much easier to say, like, hey, I know I'm safe. I have a safe feeling because I'm surrounded by people who know what they're doing. They're helping me, they're my friends, and I feel secure enough. Then side B, the one that you're just talking about, Creepy, which is a really valid point, is gonna become more easy because you feel safe or not. That's my
Exactly.
yeah.
For me personally, I haven't had that problem so far because I don't always have a mod on my channel, and that's because I don't necessarily get high numbers. Sometimes I do, but I don't sometimes get that numbers to the point where I'm like, I don't think that someone's gonna come in and troll, and I don't know. I think that's something that I don't know. I've never worried about because I don't feel I've ever had that like steady big audience. If you see what I mean, I think that is something I will worry about more as I grow. And I completely agree with you, guys. I think that is a really important, uh, underestimated thing that you should have. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of channels don't, unfortunately, have that because they won't always have a mod on their channel necessarily.
Well, if you flip it, can I do one more thing, Maddie, and then I'll shut the fuck up.
No,
Flip-
keep talking. Keep talking.
Flemma, if you flip it around,
Yeah.
what I did with my channel is I flipped it around. Instead of looking like the viewers, etc., who were coming, I was more focused on. I wrote an article back in the day, which was read pretty well. It was about streaming is not about viewers; it's about engagement. So what I watched was actually the amount of chat lines that people dropped, and I focused my content on the engagement part. Um, so what I did is when I was on like 5 to 10 viewers or something, I took the ones who were there the most. I said to them, I have an important task. I want you to be my moderator. I want you to make me feel safe. I want you to do this, this, and this. I had a whole moderator checklist on what those people should do for my channel, for my content. Um, and what I did with that is I made the people who were in my chat most of the time, I made them even more important. They knew things that I was about to do for my channel before I even launched it. So putting them on that stage, giving them the exposure like that, I feel could help lift everybody's channel to the next level. Make the people who are there so important and keep them in a loop. Make them your sparring partner, like the boxing kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
your ideas might be great in your head, but it might turn when you do it live. And having good mods, they can always be like, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. We're not gonna do it. For example, I considered changing my name after a lot of shit happened. And I had a call with a section of my mods, and they explicitly said to me, Kaiser, I'm gonna slap you and fly over if you ever change Kaiser. And that's why I kept it. So I used that moment with the most people I trust the most, I do the most with, I trust them, and they helped me through that moment in my channel, and I feel completely re-energized. And I couldn't have done that without that team. So basically saying the growth also falls back on that inner circle, that group of people that you make super important, in my opinion.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, because I mean, you can't. Another thing that when people go live, they kind of worry about is what we talked about, is trolls and having somebody throw off your rhythm. And having a good mod team and a good friendship with those that you trust to do that is very important. And that's where networking comes in. So a lot of big stream communities out there, or these quote unquote marketing gurus, harp on marketing and they get it completely wrong, and networking. But something that's very important is to make sure that you have a good relationship and a solid foundation with the people that are taking care of your channel and modding for you. Inevitably, you're going to get trolls. It's going to happen. You're going to have people that are doing malicious crap just for the hell of it, and you're going to need those people to watch your back. So having a good relationship with them is important. We were talking about trolls. We're talking about our moderators and how we can network to make sure that we're safer. And I was asking all of you guys, have you ever dealt with situations? Tell me about your troll stories. Let the chat know about what's going on in your world with that.
Anybody wants to take on, guys?
I think you should start.
You want me to
Yeah.
start? Who, me? Who we're talking to?
We're talking to you guys. We want to hear about your troll
Jesus.
stories.
Who else?
I don't know. So all troll stories. I got many. I've been duplicated by name. They have stolen my complete brand and just added USA North or something behind it. I have had people in my channel and a special troll army, which is even known on Reddit. I've been follow bot live. I've been view botted live. I've been called anything or anything. Mm, and that's just on Twitch. In my Discord, it got way worse. Somewhere there. Yeah. I know. You know, I think that trolls are a part of being online. And I think that people talking behind your back is a part of Twitch. I don't like that part of the community. Sometimes Twitch feels like high school. Like people are talking behind your back or saying nasty things about you. And the thing that struck me the most is that people tend to believe what they hear without getting the other side of the story. So I think that a lot of content creators or viewers or whatever are easily baited into believing things that might not be true. So my advice to anybody is if you are building up something, which takes a lot of time, at least hear both sides of the story because they might surprise you and they might have other intel than you have heard. So instead of believing everything or anything, I feel like you should always hear both sides of the stories. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've always had a good mod army, to be honest. They did change over the time, but yeah, I've always been protected by mods. The one time I gave up, the one time I stopped streaming was the follow bot, because at that point my Stream Elements wasn't working well, and I wanted to skip the alerts, but that didn't work, and I was not about to listen to 100 followers. That's the only time I gave in to a troll.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good point. Like the biggest issue is there's so much knee jerk reaction in the community, especially with viewers that don't really understand what it's like to be a content creator. And a big proponent of that is if you look at Twitter, oh my god, don't even get me started because that's exactly what a knee jerk reaction looks like when somebody gets called out for something and everybody just jumps on it and believes it. It's trendy to attack that person. Don't fall into that category, guys. Don't. As you see my goofy animated head jiggle around like I'm having a stroke, don't fall into that category. Get all the facts. And something that's really important is you need thick skin for this. You're gonna have like the loudest people are the worst ones, but you're gonna have 100 good people. It's just like the news. There's gonna be 100 good stories and 2 bad ones that sell because it's sexy. So you're gonna have a couple crappy people, but you're gonna have a ton of good people on your side too. Kaiser, tell me a little bit about that Reddit community that you were talking about.
It was something chain for chain or something. That was like a troll army. They create a lot of accounts, different accounts, and then they come in and say really, really nasty things. Not just about aim, but also about family or that you must get the most terrible disease ever. And what I want to point out with your excellent point before, Maddie, is that also when you are on all those socials, that is also you representing your brand. And what a lot of people forget when you are on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, other people see that as well. So when I see someone completely raging over something and I tend to disagree, but I don't speak up, that might be a reason for me to unfollow you. And if I do it, maybe a lot of other people do it as well. So represent the brand, represent the brand. Nice. It could be the theme of the podcast. Represent the brand,
Represent the
like
brand.
yeah, but yeah, you gotta represent yourself, your brand, like everywhere you go. And I feel like a lot of people just tend to drop things on social and be like, I feel this. It's fine and okay if you feel stuff like that. But maybe if it's that hot of a topic, let it sink in for a while. Consider if the tweet is well thought out or the post. And after that, post it instead of like jumping on something which might not be worth jumping on because it might also damage your brand. People are short sighted when it comes to that, in my opinion.
They are. No, I completely agree with that. That's a good point. And kind of segueing, going from that, just want to ask the other guys too, Creepy and Flemma. Something I'm curious about, Flemma, is have you ever encountered that so far? Kind of like what you said, worrying about, going live and having that, worry even now, just being on. Have you ever experienced any of that from the troll community, and even like from a different aspect, from a woman's perspective? Have you ever encountered anything that was unique to you?
Oh yeah. I don't. I'm quite lucky in that I haven't had a ton of trolling. I have had a follow bot. Funny enough, I will mention this because it was while I was playing Outlaws 2, and a fellow elite member also got follow botted playing the same game. So just a little disclaimer out there: if you play Outlast 2 and you may get follow botted, I don't know. It was a weird trend. Yeah, I mean, I have, unfortunately, as a woman, as men obviously also get trolled too, but I have. It's not necessarily been like in insulting ways, so they haven't been like, you know, been mean to me, but they've asked for certain things or said things. I guess I put it out there like sexual things. I've had people private message me. I won't go into details because it's gross, but I have had that, and not a lot, I must admit. I'm quite lucky in that. I don't think most people see me in that way. I don't think they see me as funny. I don't want to be seen as just a woman. I want to be seen as a funny person. Like, I don't, some streamers like to show their womanliness on the stream, and that's fine, but that's not me. I'm a tomboy. I'm not. That's not really my brand. But yeah, like I have had trolls, but I've been quite lucky in that. Very few. We've got a really
Mhm.
good community. And I think that's really important as well. Like Kaiser was saying, when you've got a good community in chat, you could have the odd troll come in and they would just push them aside. And you'd have all these people come in and be positive and be like, don't listen to them, like, we love you, blah, blah, blah. And I think that helps a lot, especially for the mental health, because you can have people come in and be mean. But when you've got people in chat that support you and love you for you, they make you feel better, and you just ignore them and just pretend they're not there. So yeah.
That makes me so mad, Flemma. That story is exactly what the fuck is wrong with the internet. Like, I watch someone and now I can just sneak up in her privates and ask for that shit. Are you a complete fucking moron? Like, are you that stupid? I think Twitch should just open a name and shame channel or something. I think that the policy of Twitch when it comes to this kind of shit is so freaking bad. If you ask someone for nudes or anything sexual or anything at all when it comes to shit that is not something you would do in a bar or in a cafe, I think you should get fucking blocked out of the Twitch community. Done. Arrivederci. Bye
The problem
bye.
is
I
there's
think,
too many of them.
And there'll be
but
channels.
that's
just
because they
spam
don't act
channels.
on it. There's no punishment.
Mhm.
That gets me really, really angry. That shit.
And then you get
Yeah.
a situation like a nice person like myself drops into Flemma's DMs and it's like, "Hey, can I be your friend?" And then you get declined, you know.
It's
Yeah.
because of your name.
Nobody hearing this
Name
story.
is creepy.
It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. In fairness, like that is a funny story, but unfortunately, as a female streamer, and again, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to men, because I'm sure it does, but as a female streamer, if I've got someone who adds me, who, even if for completely innocent reasons, obviously, someone who adds me that I don't know, I'm gonna be skeptical. I mean, that's just what happens, obviously in life as well for women. Unfortunately, people have to be careful. So sorry,
Yeah.
creepy. I do apologize. I did decline his friend request purely on his name, but we've moved past that now, haven't we, creepy?
Yes.
We're best of friends, so.
I don't blame her though. I mean, it's like taking a sip of orange juice and there's that like Mr. Yuck logo on it. It's obviously you don't want to drink it. So if somebody named Creepy DMs you, you're thinking Chris Hansen? What's going on? Like, so yeah. But that's a good point. I mean, guys, I mean, to be realistic here, the dissonance between streamers that are men and streamers that are women. I mean, there's a lot of issues that female streamers have to deal with. It's just the truth. Definitely be an advocate for that and be a supporter. Everybody just wants to be a content creator. They don't want to be like, they don't want to have this label shoved on them and treat it like an object no matter what they are. So just remember that when you're watching people, just treat people with respect.
That is something I did learn, Maddie.
Yeah.
Like, but if I look back, like in my personal associations or my friends or whatever, I haven't had the experience with someone who isn't comfortable in his own body or anything remotely close to sexual stuff that you didn't want to happen. Thank God for that last part. That first part is also hard, and I feel like if we all are just a little bit more nice towards each other and give each other a little bit more room to be whoever the fuck you want to be. If you want to be a fucking dog, I don't care. If you want to be a tiger, go dress up and be a tiger. I don't bloody care. As long as the person that I'm watching is happy and the one that I care about is happy. And I feel like there's so much discontent, there's so much jealousy, there's so much problems with people and the way that they look to one another, that there's no room for love. And instead of thinking, hey, this is wrong or this is not how I feel, you can also cherish it and ask a question, and or ask multiple questions in order to learn something. I can truly say about myself that I evolved on that part. I was horrible at the beginning, not in the way I thought about it, but in the way I acted on it. Like I completely shut down instead of welcoming the other people who have another mindset than myself. And over the last couple of years, I grew, and I feel like if you just are open to one another, if we just one family with one goal, then things can get very different. And a slight adjustment for us is maybe a big difference, a big change in someone else's life. And yeah, I feel like we should all contribute to that, towards that goal.
Yeah, we can, and we have to be proponents of that positive change because, I mean, something that a lot of people don't really remember is that no matter what it is, and like I said this before, not to be repetitive, is so much good is there, and there's so much in terms of nicety, and good people out there, but it's just the bad ones are the loudest. The bad ones stick out the most. So just remember that it's not the worst isn't the majority, it's the minority, the good people. There's much more of that out there. But another thing too is, guys, you have to remember to be that advocate and stand up and speak up when you see that shit happening. And a lot of people don't, and that's what allows it to fester, especially with these communities, because you have like content creators that, like, if you're getting DMs and people are bothering you and trying to ask for personal stuff and getting in your shit, you need to stand up about it and get those other people to just, like, fuck right off, because you just can't put up with it. Creepy, I didn't really get to you yet, but have you ever experienced that? I never really heard any stories from you. Have you ever experienced any trolling, like severe?
No, the only thing I've ever got is a follow bot in my time of streaming. Generally, if
Okay.
someone starts trolling, I mean, even if they haven't really ever, but maybe on the odd occasion they might have said something bad, my mods have just been banned, bye bye.
Yeah. Okay, and that goes with what Kaiser said. So you have that foundation, so that's very
Yeah.
good. And sometimes that happens. Like myself, I haven't really encountered it too much either. And it just depends on, I guess, how much you put into it, and eventually the bigger and the more time you put into it. Kind of
I
like
think
looking at Kaiser.
I think sadly women do get more trolling.
Yeah.
Just generally because it's either sad men or adolescent boys, and they go on to and they see this woman streaming, go, haha, I'm going to ask her for nudes, and it's like
Can
you're
I
not going to
just
get it.
can I just say as well though, the thing I love about streaming, it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger, especially with we've had a lot of horrible things happen this year. A lot of us having to obviously stay home, and more people have been online, and more people have seen streaming and things like that. And this feels when it comes to female streaming and playing video games, it is so much better than what it used to be. When I was younger, like I was playing and I was playing games with my brother. We were quite close. That's kind of how I got into video games. We were really close. He started playing games, and I started playing games. And my older sister would be like, when are you gonna be a girl? But when are you gonna play Barbies? When are you gonna like do what you should do? And I'm like, why? Why do I have to do that? Like just because I'm a girl, I should be doing girly things and stuff. That was back when I was a kid. It's so much better now. It's so much better. You're always going to get people that be like, girls shouldn't play video games. But that is such a small minority now. Such a small minority. Like these people, you know, especially with things like mobile games and things like The Sims and stuff. more girls are playing games, and I love it, and it's great. So yes, unfortunately you're always going to get people that come into girls' streams and be like, yeah, you're not, why are you playing games?
Or you
But
can't
it's good
aim
if
because
sort of
you're a girl.
I mean, I can't aim, but that's because of me. That's
mean,
nothing
I
to do with my
can aim.
gender. A creepy
No,
can't aim.
exactly.
Kaiser can't
But
aim
they do
either.
it,
It's got
right?
nothing to do with our genders. We're just
Yeah,
bad
but
at
they do it.
aiming.
They go into people. I've seen lady streamers who are playing, for example, Call of Duty, and when they hit one shot, it goes off like "you're trash." I believe I don't think I know any besides hackers anybody who would never miss a shot, which is just an awful way of expressing yourself in that channel. And I feel like that also evolves more around women than men. I don't really see anybody who misses in Call of Duty get like heavily trolled. But when there's a lady streamer who does it, I do see that happen. They go all salty on that person compared to men. But I might be wrong. That is my assumption for what I've seen, which is weird.
Yeah, but I think that that's a self-confidence issue with a lot of these that like if the guys come in they're just like ratting on this girl for playing Call of Duty, it's because they have this own,
Jealousy.
it's jealousy, yeah,
They
and
suck.
they take it out on them and they don't realize like it being a girl or being a guy has nothing to do with how well you play a video game at all. It has nothing to do with it. It's so stupid to think that. So I think it is a jealousy thing for sure. And just, trying to make themselves feel better about any shortcomings for real. So yeah, I think it is a big issue in the community. That I don't think it's ever going to go away. I don't think it ever has gone away. I think it's probably been around for a long time. But we're obviously making changes in the right direction.
Yep.
But I mean, in terms of what could be done, I think it's just making sure we stand up for each other along the lines of being a support system.
Yeah, and how
but
about
yes,
the LGBTQEA community? I'm sorry, in Dutch that's something else, so I needed to read it out loud. Like, could we say that that one is on top, even above women in terms of trolling? Those people
Yeah.
are misunderstood the most out of every like different type of sex.
yeah, I mean I would say that yeah, the LGBTQ community is definitely I mean so many more people now are, accepting and realizing that everybody has differences that makes them unique and we're all people. And I really love that aspect that people are coming together to celebrate that. But I feel like, yeah, people that are, announcing themselves and being comfortable with themselves are getting trolled quite a bit because it's not part of the air quotes, you can't see my fingers, the norm, which is, depressing. I know we don't have an advocate on the panel right now that could speak of it on a personal level, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Have you ever, encountered that? Have you seen it happen to other people? If somebody was, for example, gay or trans, etc. Have you ever seen somebody become a victim of that trolling because of that?
Yes, 100%. And in all fairness, not assuming gender is also something that needs work. Talking about myself, like when I go in, I assume things that might not be the feeling towards that person. So what I've been really focused on in 2020 is understanding that I can't come in like, yo, what's up, dude, or whatever like that. Like that person might not feel that way, and that's a learning curve because that's something I say yo dudes to everybody. I even call Flemma and I will be like, yo dude, what's up? Because that's just in the system. And that's maybe what's also wrong. Like you tend to assume things that might not be there. And I think that that's like not a bully way or not a trolley way, but that is something that you can improve. On the other hand, if you look at like the gay community or the transgenders, I feel like they are having a rough time on internet. And I agree with you that it's getting better. I sometimes even feel like their content could be the bomb. Like if you go to watch those shows where they really like put on that drag suit and stuff like that, they look amazing. Imagine doing that live and then play after you dress up like a fucking princess or something or whatever you want, and then you play a horror game or something. That will be hilarious. That will be top content. So I feel like that community is also a community that actually has a benefit that they can utilize in terms of content. Dress up, be whoever you want to be, and then stream. Or dress up live on stream. I'm not talking nudity, but I'm talking like makeup and shit. And then you go and play the game that you want or create the content that you want. And
Yeah.
also the learning aspect. Like if you sit there, you feel you are comfortable, you are live, you are so much further than a lot of people in that community that you can also take that moment as a how do you call it? Being the one who already done it, the role model. There you go. I was looking for the word. Like be the role model for that community. There's a lot of things that you can do as a content creator who feel comfortable streaming or talking about it, compared to people who are maybe in the closet or still searching for their identity. I feel like that's a big opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just quickly coming to that, not just again from a female's perspective. Most of the time, I think most people's usernames don't, unless you've literally got your name. If you go into someone's chat and they don't know you, most of the time they are going to assume you're a man. I'm guilty of it, even though I will go into streams and I'll be like, oh yeah, hey dude, hey man, what's up? It doesn't really offend me. I don't really bother because I'm like, most of the people on Twitch are men. I don't know. Saying that, I haven't got that statistic. I don't know if that's true. But I'm guilty of it too. If someone comes into my chat, I'll be like, "Oh, hey man, what's up?" or "How you doing?" I mean, like I said, yeah, I don't really get offended if someone assumes I'm a man. Sometimes I go into people's chats who know me and still go, "Boy, hey dude, what's up?" And I'm like, "You know, I'm a chick. What's going on?" But yeah, so I mean, it's something that definitely does need to be improved. And like I said, Kaiser, like I'm guilty of it too. I will most of the time, if I don't know someone, assume they're a man. If someone comes in and like, oh, I'm a girl, I'm like, I'm really sorry, and obviously apologetic. But it does need to improve because we shouldn't. We do, I think, society still assume things. And it's not right. I think it needs
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah, and like I understand that completely, but on like I think on a very deep level, because there are certain things that I think verbiage is a term of endearment. Like a lot of people will say, "What's up, man? What's up, dude?" Like to men and women, and it just means "What's up, person?" that I like. It doesn't really mean, but I definitely get where you're coming from. Like you, in today's world, you have to kind of understand who a person is and respect them for that. And I know, like speaking for myself, like what you said, Kaiser, I don't necessarily know if it has really gotten better. Just because I'm not in that group, I don't know how people feel. It's just what I'm assuming based off of how far we've come in acceptance in the world today, and hopefully it does continue to get so. And I just wanted to throw this out there. So we have a viewer right now. Kind of an anecdote here is a guy unfollowed this person for being what they quoted as a freak of nature, and that I shouldn't speak to him again because I wasn't a real girl on the outside. And when you have a person who's struggling to become the person that they truly are and put it out there for the world, and you have people like that are just vitriolic and disgusting, and these are the people that I feel like are taking their hatred of themselves out on other people. They could really hurt somebody. So I think as part of the community, we have to definitely be advocates for that positivity and making sure that everybody has the equal footing that they deserve. So I'm glad you guys shared those stories with me today.
Can I just come in again saying,
Absolutely.
I feel like on Twitch, and if you go to Discord, the communities can be so different. So like, okay, on Twitch, I can be trolled for being a woman, I guess. Not very often, but it's happened. In my Discord communities, I can say, especially with the Elite community, I've never been treated like a woman, and that's a good thing. As in, I get treated like they would treat anyone else. Like, you guys have never been like, oh, Flemmer's a lady, so we've got to watch our swearing or anything like that, which is completely not me at all. Like, I swear constantly, if you know me. And never once was I treated or felt like I was treated differently because I was a woman. I mean, I guess it is a little bit different in that if someone joins the Discord channel, if they don't have a profile picture, again, you might not know if they're a man or a woman. But once people got to know me, well, on my display pictures, it's a picture of me. I've never been treated like that. I've always, and I love that. I absolutely love that. I've just been treated for me, nothing to do with my gender. I get constantly harassed and trolled by these two, and I love it because they don't. That's just how they should just be treating everyone. Like, sorry, not the trolling aspect.
I
No, but
would
Flemma,
I would say that, like, that is after we've got to know you and felt that confidence to do that, because obviously within communities and new people come in, it's different strokes for different folks. You know, a female might come into a Discord server and want that difference where it's like, I don't like, the swearing or whatever, as we would treat you, Flemma, for example, because we've created that confidence, where I think straight off
uh,
the bat it's important to kind of have a bit of, a mingling time to see,
How
what
weird I am.
preferences are.
but I'm
Yeah,
proud
how weird.
That Flemma calls us out like that, because it is completely true. We treat everybody the same. You get trolled the same. It might take a while because we need to get to know you a little bit. But on the other side, Flemma, that's also a true story. On your interview, whether or not you were going to become elite, I also told you that the chat can be 18 plus and very testosterone. So I did feel like I would have to warn you, but that was also because I didn't know you that well at that point. And to be honest, I don't really think I did that with every guy. I did with some. I think for me at that point, it was more like a feeling like, hey, I don't know you well enough. I gotta warn you so that
Mm.
you don't get overwhelmed. But to be fair, I saw him in the chat. I also did with Dwarf Sigmund, because people can sometimes give you a vibe like I don't know what to expect. So I was feeding them more information about what to expect when joining.
The thing is, though, that's interesting with that. So obviously, yeah. So you guys said to me when I had the interview, like, by the way, we're a bit out there, we're rude, blah blah blah. That's not the first time I've been told that. I've had job interviews for companies who I felt that because I'm a woman, they have to say, oh, by the way, we're all men and we're like gross and weird and we swear. The swearing thing I find so funny, that they think the swearing is a manly thing. I swear so fucking much. So much. I mean, like, you could say I'm not feminine, but is swearing like, I think society regards swearing, for example, as a masculine thing, like masculine,
Hmm.
like swearing is a man thing, and yeah. So like, I kind of respect it that I get a warning, but I think that is one of the things, yeah, as a female,
No, it was
like
it
coming
was
into
not.
communities.
It had
Sorry,
nothing to do with you being a woman in this case. That was what I was
yeah.
trying to say. It was more like the feeling or the vibe that I get from the conversation, and I didn't know you yet. I didn't tell Creepy because one, he's a source, and two, I knew he could take it. I didn't know you yet, so for me, it felt like I should say that to you more in order to avoid difficult situations afterwards. And I had a couple of calls with the guys as well, where I had the same feeling. I shared it with Dwarf Sigmund, for example. I said the exact same thing, like, "Hey, dude, watch out. This chat can be adult themed sometimes." And I think it quieted down already, but especially in the beginning, it was something that we as a council also started looking at, like, hey, what is our next step in trying to avoid these situations? But on the other side, you also want the community to evolve and have fun together, so you want to balance that out. But I feel like that was more because I didn't know you, and maybe the interview itself, where you were a little bit more like, in the Netherlands we say, no, I'm not gonna say that. You were more like leaning backwards in that conversation, feeling like putting your fingerspitzengefühl out. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's part of my personality, though, is that when I don't know someone, I'm really shy. When I get to know people, I said to my mum, like, I said, I'm really shy. She's like, you're not shy. You're so loud. I'm like, no, no, no. I am shy. When I don't know people, I'm hella shy. Like, I must admit, when I did first join the community and I jumped in, and it was like, whoa, like, I don't know how to jump into this conversation. Like, what the hell is going on? But once I got to know you guys, so this is why, like we were saying in the conversation, once I started being weird and trolling and stuff, and you guys were being like, I thought you were nice. What's going on? Like, why are you being so rude? I'm like, this is my true self. Unfortunately, I just didn't show that in the interview because I was being shy because I didn't know you guys. But that's part of my personality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's another thing too is that people don't realize that there's so much stigma out there today that you get kind of put into a category if you do anything. And a lot of times they realize that a person's just a person and they just want to get to know them first. And a lot of people just jump on it and say, well, you're doing that because you're this or you're that. So there's kind of two sides to the story where people are just trying to get to know people, and they're not actually doing anything, bad, or trying to put somebody into a category where they're being sexist or racist or a bigot. It's just they're trying to get to know somebody. So there's also that kind of negative too, where people are a little knee jerky, but at the same time, we have to look at it as try to treat everybody equal. Everybody's a person. Everybody's a content creator. They just want to have fun, build their community. And that's very important. So before we get into kind of our next topic, which we're going to talk about some family, we're going to take a tiny little break. So I hope everybody sticks around. Please do it for G-Man as I look deeply into your eyes. Yes, Gordon. Put the trash in the can. All right, we'll be right back, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. Enjoy this non-commercial break. We'll get right back to you. Thank you so much for waiting. I bring back the most beautiful G-Man and his group of, what do they call the soldiers in Half-Life? You know what I mean. Associates. All right. So coming back, guys, something else I wanted to talk about was we kind of skirted over a little bit of mental health, and it's something that's definitely very important, especially for content creators, as we're always out there. I mean, obviously not in the limelight, unless you're high status, but to be the Combine, thanks, Baron. But to be out there, it does take a toll on you. I mean, especially if you're getting judged, if people are, trolling you or giving you crap. So just to kind of get back over to Kaiser, who brought this up, is very important with mental health. What are some of the aspects of mental health that, do you experience anything with being a content creator? Have you noticed any of your friends going through anything? And what are some things that people could do to help themselves with it?
I think that's a really difficult topic, and I think it's also something that's been taken lightly by a lot of people, or even people who stream with mental health on top of their list. Like, I want to donate to mental health, or people exploiting it. I feel like until a year ago, I always said I have never experienced mental health issues, which was also the case. The person you see right now, the way that I feel right now, is basically how I've always been up until a year ago. I've always been energetic. I've always been the man with the ideas. I consider myself to be a leader. I like to take the lead on things. I like to push things, push people, try and help people. And then I got burned out. And I feel that has to do with a couple of things in my case, which will always be different talking about other people's cases. But for me, it was mainly I put a lot of weight on my shoulders, and that weight got increased mainly by myself at first. So I was expecting things from myself, not just fuel wise, but also content wise, engagement wise. And I was too hard on myself. That's one. And the other side was the community that I run at that point got a lot of negativity, got a lot of backtrack. I also felt like I was really doing too much work alone. I'm not saying that I didn't have a team, but I didn't involve the team. I did things by myself, and there was a lot of negativity, and that started to get towards me. That's also the situation where it's personal, but I'm gonna share it because most people already know. When my son was born, my pride and joy, I would catch a bullet for that little man. But my wife, after that, she nearly died. And that is also when I took a large break from streaming because some things are just more important than content creation. And I feel like if you have people behind you who support you, who might not even be there, but they are here and they are here, then focus on that. There's nothing more important than a stable home situation. And I am in a fortunate situation where I've this little kid that I love to death, and I love my wife to death, and we've been together for so long. And she is actually the one that pushed me back in it at that point. But it was also the first night I ever cried about something content related in my life. I'm not a crier at all. Only when I'm feeling sentimental and I'm gonna listen to, for example, Andrea Bocelli, then you really get me. But next to that, I don't cry, and that's not muscular thing. That's just me. That's the first night I ever did that. And my wife, the next day, she said, "You're gonna quit right now with what you're doing. That's gonna make you feel like that because you're not the guy I used to know." And I was looking in the mirror and I was like, "Fucking hell, she's right again." And don't ever tell her that. Um, and that's also the moment I contacted my best friends, and I'm gonna like, there's got to be a change. I need to do something for myself because if I keep doing this, I'm gonna hit the wall harder, and I might never ever come back. And at that point, they stepped up, and they're still doing. And I spin the things that was negative into something that first got worse, and I expected that, but then it took me back to the spot where I am right now. And the feeling I have with the elite community, and the feeling I have with the council running it, and a complete staff that's doing so much work. Look at the new social team with Flemma and Cyan Cloud, and they are already so bringing so much fresh ideas and new positive vibes that I can truly say that they brought me back to where I'm right now. But yeah, there's a lot of things that can get to you. And at the end of the day, the thing I learned from this whole situation was what truly matters. Is that really a stream where you just had an average of three, for example? Is that something that at the end of the day really matters? It might feel like it does, but it doesn't. There is so much more important things that you might overlook in a situation like that. And now I'm at peace. I'm at peace with what is happening. I found my joy again in the things that I love to do and share it to the people I love to share it with. And I feel like it might be short-sighted, but a large proportion of mental health comes back to just talking in a safe environment with the people you love, and don't feel afraid to drag them in, not in the problem itself, but at least in your mindset, in the thing that make you stay up at night or cry about or feel insecure. And that sometimes is funny to see that how people look at you are is maybe completely off track from what you might expect. Because the funny part is I always feel like, because my name is signed under a couple of things, people have a certain way of looking at you. But then again, people come to me with the weirdest problems and things that are on their minds. So there is also kind of like a trusty bond between me and those people. And I didn't expect those names to come towards me with such problems, which is so dope. So for me, yeah, that is how I got back on track after been lost quite a while, to be honest. And I also lost complete interest in anything content related. I was live, and that was it. That was mainly to see the people that are knew who would show up, but I didn't feel the love. I didn't feel the push. I didn't feel anything, to be honest. And that is now back. And that is not up to me to say, but there is a thank you in that. A thank you to the people who made me do it, who ask when are you going live, because that means more than people might imagine. And that last push was what I needed. But yeah, I feel for mental health because I think I underestimated it until the point that I actually hit that wall myself and better understood where people were going through, instead of being like, oh, I don't really know what to say about this topic because I've never encountered it. It can happen to anybody. It's just the safety net behind you, which is key, in my
I
opinion.
think I think for a good while as well. I mean, sometimes you're your biggest enemy. Like us as your close friends saw you were going through a mental health issue for a long time before you thought you were. And until you actually hit that moment yourself and you were like, oh God, I actually am, that's when you could then start fixing and healing.
Yeah, no, I mean self-awareness is key, and that's a great point because, like, first off, just to one point, Kaiser, Andre Bocelli, "Time to Say Goodbye" gets me every time. So, second off, a support system in your personal life is key because, like what Creepy said, they're gonna notice before you do, because being in self-denial is just natural. Sometimes you might not even pick up on it, but also having that support system to conversate with, because no matter what it is, or no matter what mental health issues you're going through, being able to talk about it is key, and being able to open up and then start to digest it and maybe learn to fix it along the way. Flem, I think you were going to say something. I don't know if I was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, this, I am. It's so important.
It is important.
I was muted. Damn it.
But yeah, it
It
is.
is important.
It's
No, it's
something
okay.
important
Don't
for me.
start that.
I'm
For
the
God's
opposite of
sake.
Liza. I'm a massive crier. I've cried on stream before, not very often. I think what's really important to say is, like, and I always say this in my stream, please talk to people. Don't, like, and also, like, I always say to people, like, they're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to stream tonight, don't feel like it. Don't push yourself, because if you don't feel good, you're not going to have a good stream, because people will see that, you know?
Amen.
And I've had the opposite. It's like, when it comes to streaming stuff, like, I can have streams that make me feel better, but also watching people's streams make me feel better. I've had really rough days, and, like, I think it was when you two were streaming, you Kaiser and Creepy, and you were waiting for, I can't think we were playing Apex, or you were waiting for something, and you were just chatting, and just I don't know
Oh,
what
the
you were
knock-knock
doing.
jokes.
Yeah,
It wasn't even the jokes. You were just being like, it's just the banter
These
just
were
really made me
awful.
laugh, and it was like, because, like, I've suffered with mental health for, like, like, I had, like, a year in my life where just, like, so many things happen, like, all in one time, and so I do suffer from it. Like, I must admit, it's not so bad since I've been with my current boyfriend. I don't feel as much like that anymore. But just talk, yeah, like, talk to people, because it feels so much pressure sometimes sometimes I have days where I know I'm going to stream, and I have this anxiety in me. And on the days when I don't stream, I feel kind of calm. So, like, but yeah, like, or just don't force yourself to stream. It's so important. Like, if you don't feel like streaming, do not stream, because people will see it. People will see that you're not yourself. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, Flemmo. I truly feel what you're saying. I feel like you're on a very good point there. But I'm gonna talk to you on the other side, because I am not a sharer. I am not a talker, and it's 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 a good thing you say, because it's completely true. Let me get that out first. If you ever feel like that, talk to someone. But at the same time, it's super weird for me to say that, because I don't. I've been in that situation and I just don't.
Yeah.
And I feel to everybody watching who feels the same way, who's like, I can't talk about it, because the first time my mods called me like, Kaiser, what the fuck's going on? Because they did. I was like, nothing's going on. I feel fine. What are you talking about? Because I just didn't want to talk about it. And they did an intervention with a smiley face, of course. But yeah, they did that for me. And I feel like if you are in the situation like Flemma just described, which is perfectly well said, I feel, but if you are that person that can't talk about it, can I just give you the suggestion to either listen to music or go to a happy place for yourself? For me, that's music, but everybody has a happy place, whether it's gaming, whether it's content creation, watching someone who makes you smile, which is, by the way, the biggest compliment you can ever get. Thank you. Um, I feel like if you are in that spot, go to a happy place, try to remain calm, and when you are there, when you are ready, then talk to someone. Don't be so hard on yourself like I'm not feeling well, I need to do something, because the need to do something is not going to give you the result that you're probably hoping for. That healing process sometimes takes time. Um, and when you are ready, talk to someone, whether it's a friend, family member, your husband, your wife, your spouse, your nephew, your dog, whatever. Talk to your cat. I don't give a shit, but at some
Dr.
point you gotta
Doolittle.
talk.
I
And I feel
agree.
like that's
Um, I think the thing is with mental health, that a lot of people say that if you never had issues with your mental health, I just want to make this really clear for anyone who's like, "Why the fuck is Fleming crying?" There's nothing wrong necessarily in my life. Obviously, there's the massive external things going on in the world. It's a bit shitty. But sometimes someone could be having a bad day and nothing's caused that. Like I could suddenly go to a really dark place and just feel really down. But there's nothing that's necessarily caused that. And I think if you've not suffered from depression and things like that before, because when there's a whole just get over it and stuff. It's like, but the thing is, like, I don't have anything to feel better about, and I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about that. There's nothing legit in my life right now that should have got me that upset and make me cry. It's just part of it's hard to explain. I'm sure there's lots of people that have suffered from depression and stuff, and some you might have something that's triggered it and that's caused you to then sometimes get like that. But there's nothing singularly I can think of right now that, like I said, apart from the external things, that's making me feel bad. Unfortunately, that's just sometimes how that mental health works. And that's why I say, like, if you don't feel like streaming, if you're feeling a bit like, ugh, like, even if it's not sad, but you're just like, ugh, like, I really don't feel up for it today, then, have a me day. Do you know what I
Mm.
do? I play Lego video games when I have a bad day. I love that shit. It's very much contrast to what I actually stream. I think that's the other thing as well. Like, obviously, I stream horror games. So sometimes I'm like, I want to play a happy game. I don't want to play a game where I'm going to get chased by a monster.
Mm.
I want to play as Wally in the Lego Incredibles. That's what I want to do because it's cute as fuck. That's what I do when I feel better, or like
Yeah.
play a game or watch a
happy
comedy,
place.
something like that. Happy place, yeah.
Exactly.
Happy
Yeah.
place.
For creepy,
Yeah.
for creepy that is Grey's Anatomy. So we all have our little
What?
happy place. Yeah, yeah. I
I've
just come
recently got
out.
into
I
Grey's
say it
Anatomy.
live, creepy. I don't give a shit.
No, it's fine. I'm okay with it. I watch Grey's Anatomy.
No, but
Just-
Flemma, you exactly what the point I was trying to make is if you feel it, if you already been there, you know better how to handle it. Better, not perfect. I'm saying better. But if you have never experienced it, going to a happy place, whether it's Lego, Grey's Anatomy, listening to Andre Bocelli, or whatever the fuck you want to do, as long as it makes you smile for at least that period, or feel at least less depressed, then that's a win. And I feel like taking that bottle and looking at it like half full instead of half empty, that is crucial. And that's the first step into acknowledging something is wrong and talk to people later.
what I will say as well is, Kaiser, what I've learned from you is that, and I kind of saw this. So, like, so say you have a schedule for like, okay, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday every week. That is my schedule. And then obviously it's Thursday and you're like, I really don't want to stream today, but you want to stick to your schedule. Don't worry about that. Like, people will come back. People will be there for you. And I've seen that with you, Kaiser, is that, you're streaming once a week. But people still come along. They're always going to be there because you've got that community that will support you. Like, I had a break of 2 years because of work. Like, I couldn't fit streaming in. And like after 2 years, I did my first stream and I got like the most viewers I've ever had. I think mostly people were like, where the fuck has she been?
It's
like,
alive.
curious. If anything, like, oh my god, she's existing. And like, what the hell? But people will always be there. So if you've got like a quite busy schedule and you're like, I have to keep to the schedule, it's okay to have a day off. It really is.
Yep.
Because if you've got that community that love your streams and come along for your streams, not just because they're like, oh, it's Tuesday, Fleming's gonna stream. They'll come along no matter what. So,
Worst fucking advice out there is that you have to stream every day. That is the
Yeah.
biggest load of crap I've heard in my life. Of course, you got to bring the content, but whether that's 1 day a week or 2 days or 3 days, I rather see one or two and nailing it and be perfect and be the best content creator you can be than go online 5 days just with the game in the background, your face in front of it, and you stream, because that's not content creation. That is playing a game live with a video cam on you. Like,
Yeah.
content creation is something more than just being out there, being live. It's about your personality. It's about what you are doing. It's about how you evolve the community around you. And I feel like mental health is like the basic ingredient to get that done. You can't just play a video game with your webcam in front of it, because that's just basically, I don't know what that is. That is basically looking at a game that you're playing. You got to take us on the journey. You got to tell you what you're doing. You got to ask chat what they're doing. And you can only do that if you feel good. So I completely agree with Flemma. I rather stream 2 times or 3 times per week, or let alone once. If you have a baby, we'll talk later. At that point, you're acing it at that point, and that's what keeps people around. I'd rather go to a stream once every week and have top A content where I feel entertained, where people can laugh, than go to a stream where you have to be there like every day and it's the same shit in a repeat form. That's just not going to work at the end of the day. I once had the biggest compliment in my life, but I want to flip that conversation if Maddie allows. Is that okay,
Yes, you
Maddie?
may. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I had, I'm not gonna call the name, but I had a couple of people come to me and said that the content that I create brings a smile to their face in dark days. And I'm gonna tell you something that might sound weird, because I feel like that's the biggest compliment you can ever get as a content creator. But, and there's a big but, which I like, but it also brought me pressure.
Yeah,
And that might sound weird, but I felt it.
because then you feel like you have to perform.
No, it felt like their happiness was boosted by my performance. And what would happen if I didn't perform? Or what would happen if I stopped being online, like I did with the thing that happened with the birth of my son? Like, what happens then?
Hmm.
It added to my. And that's weird, right? Like, what should I have done? Or what should I. What would you have done in that situation? Is it normal to feel more pressured when somebody comments and gives you a compliment like that? Or is my brain process weird feeling pressured after such a comment?
Well, you feel responsible, I think, at that point, and it's more or less like what people have to realize with content creators is they're an extension of themselves. That when you go live, you're not just playing a game; you're putting on a show. People think that you're playing a game, but most content creators that are good are putting on a show, and now you're feeling responsible for somebody's happiness because inside you really want them to succeed and be happy, but then you realize that you got to put that show on more often and you got to maybe put some more gumption into it. So it can be stressful. I think it's just also the middle ground of being able to perform and continuing to just do your own thing, without worrying too much about being that like party that is the reason for somebody else's happiness. You're happy to do it, but at the same time, you don't want to put that much pressure on yourself to always have to perform at that level. Another thing is, like, if you look at, for example, to what Flemma said earlier, is your performance is definitely dictated by your mood. If there's a personal dilemma in a carpenter's life, they're not going to build a good house. It's going to suffer, and that goes for anybody, because we all do this because we like it. It's our passion. And you never want your passion to suffer, or else it becomes a job, and that's what you don't want. You want to run your business and your brand. You don't want it to be a job. So always definitely take care of yourself first, and then you could make your content good, thus help others in the process as ancillary. It's just about finding that balance.
Do you know what I'll say to you, Kaiser? I, and this again kind of brings back to mental health, right? As amazing as that compliment is, and I 100% that you feel that pressure, you can't let that then dictate your life. Like, you can feel like, oh God, if I don't stream today, is that going to affect their life? And I understand that pressure, I really do. But you have to put your family and yourself first. unfortunately. And I get the pressure, I do, but you can't. You could have hundreds, like, so say like a massive channel, really massive channel, and you've got hundreds of people that feel like that. You want to be there for them, and you do, and I understand that, but you can't then put your life on hold. You can't put, you know, you got a little baby. I know, and I'm pretty sure he is everything. He is 100% everything in your life. That's main priority. You can't then go, okay, well, I said I was going to stream today because of these people. It's like, no, your child and your family. And I really feel that if those people love your content and love you, they'll respect that. They'll 100% respect that, because they're like, someone who really likes your content doesn't just like their content, they like you. They like you as a streamer. And so they'll respect that, if you're like, okay, I can't stream today, I've got to look after Hugo. If they really care about you as a content creator, they'll respect that. They'll totally understand that. So I 100% get where you're coming from with the stress and being like, oh my God, I feel a little bit pressure to stream. But
that's the balance point, right? Because at the other on the other side, there's like the income. Like if you ever want to become a part-time content creator or even a full-time content creator, do the math. You need a minimum of 2K income to become a part-time content creator, because half is taken by Twitch, and rightfully so, because they got to support the entire platform, got to build new features, got to build everything. On the other side, you got to invest in your hardware and your system. You got to invest in games that you want to play or content that you want to create. So if you ever want to take the step towards that level, income is another thing that adds to that stress. So when I talk to people, most of the time I hear I want to reach partner. And I'm like, no, you don't want to reach partner. Trust me, you don't want to reach partner. What you want to reach at some point is a vibrant community that hopefully at some point supports you that much that your dream of making the next level content is there. That is a different mindset. Stop thinking about that fucking check mark and start thinking about, what do I want to do with my life? And if content creation is the thing that you love, you gotta look at it as a business, because in the end of the day, you need income to survive. You need income to do anything. So instead of focusing on the check mark and put pressure on that level, I rather see people focus on community building and networking and engaging, and stop thinking about that part and focus more towards that part. I think that's one of the reasons that even took my mental health a little bit, was after I've reached the check mark. I got a little salt, lot of salt on that point, and from people I didn't expect it from. But on the other side, there's also the moment where if you reach something that you really want, it also takes the stress off. And sometimes getting pressured to reach something is also something that helps you become better and evolve. While sitting back, I've reached all my goals, now I'm done. That is kind of like a bummed out situation as well. So for me, that's where the balance point lays as well. Like income versus networking versus goals versus what do you want to reach and what makes you happy as a person.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, you go.
No, go ahead, Fleming. Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say, I was like, yeah, that's why it's so important to have a solid, amazing community behind you, because then when you do have, that's what you should be. Because when you do have days where you have got to take a day off and say it is your main source of income, I know you'll get those people that will still come back even if you just had that one day off. It's so amazing to have such a good community, because, and like I said, this comes slightly back to mental health just quickly, in that, if you do have a day off or stuff, and say it, like, mention it in your community, because you'll get so much freaking love. You got that amazing community. If I was to go into a late, like, guys, I'm really sorry. By the way, I'm not going to stream tonight because I'm not feeling very well. Blah blah blah. I'll get so much love. I'm sure. I hope so. Maybe some sarky comments from some people, but mainly love. Yeah, exactly.
Not at that point. I don't believe Creepy would even do that on that point. He would first make you feel comfortable and then destroy you, because it will make you laugh.
Yeah, that's what I did with you, cousin, when you weren't feeling very well. I was nice to you, and I was like, you need to get better, like, because then I could troll you again.
Yeah. I completely agree with both of you. The biggest backing is your community, and a lot of people search for these tropey, vapid goals that they think are extremely important, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. A check mark and a partnership on Twitch doesn't ever guarantee you success. It's just, your success is built upon who is going to be watching you, who is going to be enjoying your brand, who's enjoying your personality, and are you influencing others to stick around so you can grow. There's so much more in terms of nuance and deepness that really help you create a business with content creation. And that goes to YouTube too, that goes to social too. It's not just Twitch, but there's so much more that you have to think about for your long-term goals. So don't ever get caught up in the rat race of this guy's got partner, this guy has this, I need this, and I need. It's all different. It's all circumstantial and subjective based on your circumstances. So always keep that in mind. But the overall goal is to make sure that you have a good community, a good support system, and that you're enjoying what you're doing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, don't do it. Plain and simply, enjoy it. That's the most important thing.
Agreed.
We should have all hang up at that point. Click.
And then just leave me here in the ether. But before we end it, guys, we're getting close here. We actually went over, which I'm very thrilled of. Obviously, it's because of that bug in Discord, but it was a very good conversation today. We definitely wanted to touch on the issues of starting content creation, some areas that may bring you down or hinder you from starting up, and what along the way could be roadblocks. Definitely let us know when we post this in our other channels, within the comments of YouTube or any clips that we post on Twitter. Let us know how you feel about what you've heard today. Let us know about, any kind of challenges that you face that were unique to you, that you want to know if maybe we encountered them. And then also, guys, continuing with the podcast, we'll definitely be diving into more issues with content creation and, some ideas to help mitigate them and solve them. But of course, before we end it today, I just wanted to kind of go around the table with our guests and see if you have any final thoughts. Anybody have any final thoughts today, my lovely guests?
Nothing from me. I think I said everything. I don't know, unless you other guys have got anything to say. Kaz is already
No.
packing away.
Just
Giving-
big hug for everybody.
Big
Yeah,
hugs
I
is
feel
what
like-
it is.
I want to give a compliment to everybody involved, and especially for you, Flemma. Opening up like that on live on stream is really important. No, it's a compliment. I feel like that's basically showing what everybody should be doing, and that's a great example. And I feel happy and blessed that you feel comfortable enough with us to share that. And it is a good part, becoming a little bit more stable, a little bit more happy and positive every single day. So yeah, for me, it was a good session, guys. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, that
No,
does
thank
mean a
you.
lot. Thank you, and thank me. But seriously, you guys have all been wonderful. You've been so transparent and open, and I think we really brought the heat today. So I appreciate it. Guys, if you're watching out there, any potential sponsors, you could be filling up this blank space with the Elite Podcast. Don't let us just hang here in the darkness, okay? We can't sit here in purgatory like this. Let's put some emblems all over the place. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, guys. Arrivederci.
Bye.
We love you.